Hey everyone, welcome to my mini lesson on how to structure and write the main paragraphs of your argument analysis response. This is part of Unit 3, Area of Study 2, Analysing Argument. Now, one of the biggest gripes that many students have with English is that there is no formula. And in comparison to the likes of maths, this is a very apt observation. But today, I'm about to outline a very clear set of ingredients or method, a formula, if you like, that will enable you to know what to include in the main paragraphs of an argument analysis response and understand how to structure these main paragraphs. So, what is this formula? Well, the first thing we need to do is state the supporting argument. It's important to note here that the supporting argument is not the contention. They are sub-arguments that work together to argue the overall contention. So within one persuasive text that pushes or argues one contention, there might be a number of supporting arguments, a number of reasons why the contention should be accepted. So then you say what the argument device is, how it has been used, why it works. You repeat that formula a couple of times, and then in your last sentence of the paragraph, you come full circle, connecting back to the first sentence of the paragraph by restating the supporting argument. So let's have a look at this seemingly very easy formula in a bit more detail. Right, remember we start and end with a statement of the supporting argument. And in the middle, we repeat the what, the how, and the why. So, starting with the what, that simply requires you to name the language techniques that are being used by the author. If you want to talk about a simile, then call it a simile. If you want to talk about how someone is being affected financially, then call it an appeal to the hip pocket nerve. This will require you to learn all of the language devices, or at least a significant number of them. And my best advice to you here is to just learn them. Put the time in and then name these language devices in your response and get those very easy marks. The next part is the how. So what specific words were used? By this I mean you'll need to quote the language that was used. It's as easy as that. In addition to quoting the words, you'll need to say where the language device is located in the text. Is it at the start, the middle, or at the end? Too often, this is where students stop. They name the device, they quote it, and then they say, this simile persuades the reader, or these numbers position the reader to agree. And sure, they might. But why? Why does this device have this impact on the reader? This is where we really make our money. This is where the cream rises to the top. Why has the writer chosen this particular language device, these specific words? What is it about the language device that positions the reader to agree with the argument or to feel a certain way? Now, the best way to practice applying this formula is to just look at a real example. So here's a persuasive text that I've already written. And if you've heard me read it out, please feel free to skip ahead 30 to 45 seconds or so. An NBA player could jump over you. To my fellow content producers, today I was left astonished. I cannot get over how many of you believe that NBA players are overrated and that tennis players are the best athletes in the world. I have followed the NBA for my whole life. I do not understand how one cannot appreciate the athletic splendor of NBA players. They are as tall as Eureka Tower and can jump as high as a kangaroo. Just look up LeBron James. At 206 centimeters tall and weighing in at 113 kilograms, he can jump 101 centimeters in the air without a run-up. He can also dribble, pass, and shoot at an unbelievable level. An outlier, you say? Well, treat yourselves to the highlight packages of Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Zion Williamson, just to name a few. Please, feel free to return serve, but my best guess is that LeBron James could jump over Roger Federer whilst holding Rafael Nadal above his head. Kind regards, James. All right. Now, pause here, and I want you to try to identify the what, the how, and the why for two separate language devices. See how you go. All right. So here's my attempt at identifying the what, how, and why for two different language devices. The first one I came up with was a hyperbolic simile. So tick, I've named it. I've also ticked the how because I said, I included a quote of as tall as the Eureka Tower and jump as high as kangaroos. And I've also done the why. I've explained why these language devices seek to, how they persuade the reader. So the Eureka Tower is known for its height. Kangaroos are known for the way they jump. By likening NBA athletes to these two symbols, the author is able to create the image in the reader's head as NBA athletes as extremely tall and very, very great, but just wonderful jumpers. Also, the use of the Australian symbols will make the Australian audience more responsive to these similes because they will have seen a kangaroo and Eureka Tower. The second one was facts and figures. Tick, I did the what. Tick, I've done the how by including the quote. And the why, well, it's specific evidence of LeBron's extraordinary height and weight and athleticism, which really grounds and reinforces those quite outlandish hyperboles. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is just take this plan, if you like, and turn it into a cohesive, full paragraph. So pause the video here and give it a go at home. Awesome. This is what I came up with. So to prove that the formula works, I just want to highlight it all in various colors. And this is a great practice to get used to doing. So first we'll state the argument in blue. Then we'll state the what in green, and we'll state the how in red. And so there's still half the text to go, and the why in purple. Just look at that. This is a very visual representation of the importance of the why. And you can see how when various students leave out this incredibly important aspect of their main paragraphs, they struggle to do well. As you can see up the top, the why represents 54% of the paragraph. That doesn't mean that the what and the how aren't important. You still have to do them. But please really focus on the why. Okay, great. So my final tip to you is to just never forget to link back to the argument in the last sentence. At the end of the day, this is an argument analysis. All the stuff in the middle of the paragraph is about how the author has constructed those two arguments, constructed the arguments. So by starting with the argument and ending with the argument, you are really reinforcing the fact that you know that to the marker. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.